How much oil consumption is too much oil consumption is what we're going to talk about in today's video. So here's my 2020 F450. It's a beautiful truck, but unfortunately it does burn a little bit of oil between oil changes. I'm thinking it's like a quart, but today we're going to figure out exactly how much it is burning. So we've got a 2-quart jug here. This is actually a 4-quart jug, but it is filled to about 2 quarts. Let's set it down and look. We're right there at the 2-quart mark, full of oil. So we're gonna go ahead and pour that oil into the engine and see how much low it is. And does this warrant an overhaul? Does this warrant a low hours of service warranty for this engine? Does this truck need a new engine? It only has 20,000 miles. It's on its like 5th or 6th, I don't know, oil change. And yeah, we do our oil changes a little bit early. We do them at like 3,500 to 4,000 miles because of the way we use the truck. As you can see, it has a snow plow on it. It does work hard. This is like a mobile office for me, so it does idle quite a bit. It works hard. It does a lot in general. Just it does. So we don't get 5,000 miles out of our oil or anything like that. Based on our oil life monitor, we don't. Now, when we do sample the oil still has TBN. It still can go. It's the oil is generally only used up about 50%. It still has like 50% life left in it based on a oil analysis. But according to the oil life monitor, it's all used up. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. We'll start by jumping in the truck, and I'll show you guys right now. The oil life monitor was reset, and let's go ahead and start this thing up here. We're not gonna start the engine. I actually warmed up this engine already, and we've been letting it sit. As you can see, the temperature gauge is rising to normal operating temperature, and so there's heat in the motor. It's been running. Now it's been sitting to settle, because when you check the oil, it needs to settle. And hit OK, and it boom, there you have it. Oil change is required. As you can see, we have temperature, a good amount of temperature on our coolant as we rise to operating range, which we are still going to be in operating range because the truck was just running. So let's go ahead and pop the hood, and let's get up under there and check the oil. All right, here we go. Got a funnel in there. Let's go ahead and pour some oil. Now I'm guessing about a quart, just based on previous experience where the oil's been about that low. So if we're at a quart for 3,600 miles, we're still within spec. Obviously we'd like to see 0 quarts, but still technically within specs. I talked to Cody over on Powerstroke Tech Talk, told him my situation, 3,600 miles, and I actually think I just poured a little, let's see, might actually just went over a quart here. I poured about a quart and a quarter. So I was talking to Cody from Powerstroke Tech Talk with A-Rod, and he was saying that, a quart for whatever miles, 3,500 miles, 3,400 miles, not a big deal. Now, keep in mind that 3,600 miles is not normal miles. They're pretty hard miles. So let's see where we are. Okay, look at that. So over a quart used. Now we are brought our levels up to right there. That'll show up for you. Quart. I would say, that's probably going to end up being a quart and a half to get to the top of those hash marks. But a quart and a quarter brought it back into operating range. Now, I think, so my thought on this is, like they did with the 5-liter, well, not exactly like what they did with the 5-liter, but what they did is they gave it more of a range. They gave you a different stick with more of a range. This isn't drinking oil like a 5-liter. But I think they should give you more than a quart range, because it's probably a quart and a half there. Let's see. A little bit more than a quart and a half, actually. They should give you a bigger range. Like if you burn just 1 quart and you have 13 quarts, 14 quarts. I mean, based on this, if I put 13 quarts in here, I'm actually a little short based on the stick right off the rip. But if they're gonna give you 13 quart capacity, give me a 2 quart range, operating range. I think it would make customers feel a lot better about the situation. But the stick itself, there we go, guys. We're in perfect range right now. So basically, quart and 3/4 of next quart. So 1.75 quarts. We burned 1.75 quarts of oil in one oil life monitoring cycle, 3,500 miles. But take that with a grain of salt, guys. 3,500 miles for me and the way I drive is probably closer to 7,500 miles for a light duty normal driver. And then again, my conditions with the idling and me working in the truck, the emission system's probably working kind of hard. I have to do static regens, meaning I'm putting wear on my oil but not accumulating any miles, whereas some drivers, they never have to do a static regen. So for me, this could be normal. I wanted to kind of try some things out with this engine. Things like maybe some extended drain intervals, as we run on shortages, guys. We're running these crazy shortages lately on diesel oils and things like that. And every time I do an oil life or oil analysis, they're always coming back like, dude, you got way more life left. Generally speaking, I'm about halfway used up on all my oil life cycles. So with the shortages and me running to run certain types of oil, I kind of wish that, you know, if this engine wasn't just showing this little bit of oil consumption, for it to be a 6-7 liter, for the way I use it, it's not even bad. But I wanted to maybe try a longer drain interval, but that kind of compromises the warranty a little bit. If I were to have an engine failure or anything like that, and I don't have good records, well, you know, that's not a good thing. But being able to stretch these oils out, like the AMS oil, that stuff still had a lot of TBN left. More than half was still good. And Blackstone's, they're in their messaging, they're just like, hey man, run that oil longer. So, you know, the engine was just, it was, call me crazy, but as it got toward the end of its life, the engine kept running smoother and smoother. Like, it wasn't breaking down at all. It was just getting into the groove right when I changed it. So like the AMS oil or the Hot Shot Secrets, we're about to change the oil now. We're going to do Hot Shot Secret oil. For the money that it costs for these oils, it's not too bad of an idea to run what they're advertising that they can run. Maybe just do a filter and everything. That's kind of where I'm leaning, guys. Maybe just once it comes up, change the filter, top it off, call it good, run it for 2 oil life monitors. I don't know. Something I'm definitely willing to try and do some oil analysis and see. Now, we're going to be changing the oil here soon, probably in the next video. I'm actually going to do it now when it actually gets out to the public. It's going to be a little bit harder to tell as it gets edited and all that. But we're going to be putting Hot Shot Secret 10W30 in this truck. And I'm definitely curious to how that will run, because I've been running 540s for a long time. And just so happened it wasn't available. So I'm going with the 1030 thinner oil. And I'm curious that level of PAO full synthetic from Hot Shots, but in a 1030 form. It's going to be interesting. I'm wondering if the turbo's really going to whistle or anything like that. I know it really did whistle the best. Like, it seemed like it spooled up the best with the Hot Shot Secret 5W40. It's a very close call. Like, what oil is the best? Is it the Hot Shots or is it the AMS oil? Both of those oils, between Hot Shot and AMS oil, seem to perform a little bit smoother than the Shell Rotilla 0W40. I would compare the Shell Rotilla 040 to like being comparable to the Motorcraft 540. Although toward the end of its oil life, maybe it held up a little bit better. I don't know. We'll do an oil analysis on it and see. I think it's very similar to the 540. I think 040 in general is going to be similar to 540. It's still a 40 weight. just a little bit better cold performance compared to a 540. But anyway, guys, this is DS Trucks. My name is Sean. See you in the next video. Over and out.